Hi, good morning. This is today's live on Equa Television International, and we're delighted that you are able to join us for this discussion today. As you know, every Tuesday we talk about life, and today we are looking at the topic generational differences. Generational differences. You find out that traits, values, experiences, principles differ from one generation to the other. Something that is totally acceptable in one generation is a total taboo in another generation. So today we are looking at generational differences. And my name is Jemima Emmanuel. This is today's live, and I have with me on the set today Solomon Sambo. Good morning.
Good morning, Jemima.
Joyce Jakada. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Prudence. Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Doing great.
Great.
Today the focus is on
Prudence.
her
Wow.
generation. She's the one that brought the
Exactly.
conversation about my generation.
Your
my
generation.
Yay.
So there's going to be like either a battle shift now or a debate. We hear from that generation.
And this generation.
this
And my
generation.
generation.
My generation.
Oh, great. So we're looking at generational differences, and I don't understand Solomon Sambo is smiling.
That generation.
So like I was saying earlier on, right? There are certain things that a particular generation accepts, like is a normal thing, and then another generation is totally kicking against it, and you'll be wondering, okay, so where was this generational gap? Where did this whole barrier come? And then you hear some of our parents saying, in our time, this thing was not allowed. When we were growing up, these things were not permissible. We had no option than to do this because this is how our parents brought us up. So I am wondering why you are doing this, and you'll be lost. Like, okay, this whole generational difference is the generational gap is so much. So at what point does it change? At what point do people leave, let's say, positive things and then pick on the negative ones? Like, is it that they hold a meeting and say, okay, we are no longer going on with this particular thing that this generation did. We want to pick up our own for, like, it's really a lot to generational differences.
I'm happy we brought about this topic and elaborate and explained introduction. You see, when you talk about generational differences, whether we like it or not, that has caused a lot of conflict in our society today. Today's life, you can tie family conflict, like some conflict within the family is tied to generational differences. You hear the father or the mother saying, during our time, my father did not do this to me, my mother did not do this, this was how I was raised. And then the father expecting the child to like follow suit, and the child is saying, no, this is not what is obtainable. I went to school and was taught about my rights, my freedom and all. When you do this to me as a father, you're infringing on my rights. Like, I have right to privacy, and father is saying, I built house and I put you in this room, and you're telling me that me entering your room without knocking is invading your privacy. And he will remind you of how his father brought him up, all the rules and regulations and all of that. And so you see the child fuming up and getting angry and saying, I'm leaving the house or I'm committing suicide because my father is on my neck, he's being petty and all of that. Generational differences. And you ask about what point do people drop and peak. The world itself is evolving. We kept talking about how that things are changing. The world is dynamic. With the advent of technology, like things that were not there then, today you have them. I mean, access to information is what this generation is enjoying. When you talk about that generation, they didn't have all the telephones, they don't have the phones, all the social media platform, the internet. But today, regardless of where you are, you can access any information you want to, regardless of even the location. Like, everything is just like with you on your palm. But before then, even if it's message you need to send to the next local government, you need to visit a post office, you need to before it gets there. So knowledge, information is now everywhere. Then you don't have access to all of this information that tells you this is your right, this is where your right starts and where it stops. This is what you can do, what you cannot do, what is morally right, what is not morally right. You have to follow what your parents or the elders in your community or your society tell you. Like, you don't even know, like the knowledge or the information was not there. It's just strictly what you were told. Maybe the knowledge was basically passed from one generation to the other, but now people are disregarding what the elders or the fathers have to say, some because they feel, I have internet, I have books to read, I have access to this and that, I do not need. And so before you know, conflict. The father is saying, no, this is what is obtainable. The child is saying, no, daddy, that was during your time. This is what is now obtainable. And so you see conflicts like generating or becoming everywhere. But what is key for me is, last week we talked about lifelong learning. Life is about learning. When you stop learning, you stop existing. So why not open your heart, your mind to learn, unlearn, and relearn? That way we can live together harmoniously and even peacefully. I was at an event in Jos. That was Solemn Assembly, and one of the preacher then came out to say, because we're talking about all the denomination coming together in Solemn Assembly to pray and all, he said, before now or right now, people are quick to criticizing certain people's way of worship because they have no idea of why they are worshiping in this way or what made them to decide to go this way. They just feel that if you don't worship the way I'm worshiping, that means you are wrong. But rather than you thinking that way or seeing things from that perspective, why not ask this person that is in the white garment church, why do people walk barefooted to church or for service or for fellowship? You can ask the Catholic, why don't you people call it service, you call it mass? It is better you understand why the worship or the service is being done that way, rather than you just castigating or condemning those people. So I will still say that it's still obtainable with generational changes or differences. That rather than we pointing fingers, blaming one another or saying, no, this was not what is obtainable. Oh, things have to be done this way. Oh, no, we are now in this era of technology. Instead, our parents are the ones that have to do what we are saying they should do or adapt to what is now obtainable. Why not understand the system? Why was it done that way? And then why are we having it this way? By the time you see the reason, and if it is something good and worthy to follow, why not promote it? If it's something that is not, you can like help the child unlearn some of these things, or let them know the danger attached to touring that path, rather than just condemning, abusing, insulting, and saying that no, these people are wayward, no, they are not morally right in their way of doing things and all of that. I just feel that as far as life is concerned, it's just important that we learn, unlearn, and relearn.
It's an interesting topic. I heard a lot of sermons and speeches being surrounding this topic, and one key thing that each and every speaker I've heard said, and I concur with, is that generational difference is not something that is new. Every generation comes with its ideologies, it comes with its norms, it comes with different things. Just the same way that our parents thought their own parents were old and archaic, it's the same way we are looking at them and they are old and archaic, and it's the same way our children would still come and look at us as old and it's funny how we don't think back on those days that we had those issues with our parents, and then walk towards bringing closing up that large gap, because the gap is going to be very crazy. It's very large, and we don't think about how we're going to close up that gap and relate with our children well, right? And that is why some parents from childhood begin to make sure that they are friends with their children. It's not an easy thing to do, but a lot of parents try to make that effort, that you are confident your child can be able to explain voice out his concerns, her concerns to you. And that's one way to close up that generational difference. But is it going to stop? No, because every generation comes with different things. For instance, one very controversial, no, not controversial, but one very topic that brings about a lot of controversies between parents and children in this generation is smartphones. You find a lot of parents asking questions like, when would you ever drop your phone? You're always on your phone and things like that. You just hear, it's like people, they just totally think that when you're on your phone, you're doing something wrong. But there's a whole market out there on the phone, a whole large market that some children are really investing in. So as a parent, some parents that I know would go an extra mile and ask the child, so what exactly are you doing with the phone? Let me see. Can you show me how to do it? And things like that. What exactly are you getting? And there's a way you approach the child that the whole issue of privacy is not even coming up to show. But because when you do something like that, this child is saying that, like, this is a very normal thing that my mom would do. And you're not forcing yourself on the child, but rather understanding with the child. And that's one way to do that. And for we the young ones, we can be very stubborn and we don't want to hear what our parents are saying. And it just comes with the territory. You're young, you're bubbling, you're feeling like you know the whole world. You're educated, you're informed. Your parents don't have this level of information, right? You have it. So you're feeling on top of the world right now. But there's the issue that they have experienced the world ahead of you. There are certain things that, although the way it is done has changed, but the repercussions are still the same. Or even larger, on a larger scale. So how do you understand with your parents when they come about and they're trying to explain certain things to you? How much attention do you pay to what they're talking about? How much attention am I giving my parent to understand what I am doing? Few months back, we had this discussion on how someone was asked that, how did he get his mother to understand with him when he decided that this is what he wanted to do? And he said that he said it this way, that his mom is really old and she has no idea what to do with the smartphone. But first of all, for her to understand what he was doing and the fact that he has to be traveling from one place to the other, the first thing he did was to buy her a cell phone with internet access. Then point out certain things that he will teach her. This is it, this is it, this is it. But I'm doing this and this and this, if you are able to understand. But he drew her attention to what he was doing. He tried to make sure that bridge was not there. So when he's traveling, she's not as bothered as she was before, because she now knows that this boy is traveling for a specific reason. This boy is going out to do this. That is how he closed up that generational gap. There is the gap because she does not fully grasp what he's talking about, but is not as wide as it was before, because she has an idea that this is what my son is doing. And a lot of times we think that they are old and they cannot understand anything, so we don't even try to explain certain
Sometimes
things.
they don't understand, though, no matter how you explain. I remember my sister, sorry, Sambo Solomon, during her engagement, you know how we do it in our generation now. Before, there was nothing like one special occasion, will you marry me? And everybody's like, say yes, say yes.
Then the will you marry me is seeing him coming with his people to your
With
house.
his people, or maybe his father talking to your own father,
Exactly.
saying, we saw a flower in your house, so we are interested. You don't know that people have done meet on your head. The next time they'll just say, meet your husband. And you're like, wow. You hardly have anything like relationship based on the stories our parents tell us. Like, there was really barely relationship, father and father friendship, and then they're like, and why not my daughter, your son, and see my daughter, and this girl is hardworking, she'll make a good wife for me, and that's just it. But now you have relationship, you have serving breakfast and all of that differences. So during her engagement, you know how they will set up the whole place, and then they will say, where are you, babe? Come and meet me here now. You just come and with you married, everybody shouting, yeah, because they planned it with your friends. So after the whole engagement, we got home, and my mom, the Zumunta in her showed, Zumunta woman in her just said, where are people coming from? With all excitement, we went to your daughter was engaged. This woman just got angry. Which engagement? We try to explain to auntie it's not something bad. It's engagement that leads to marriage and putting off. People just go out and stay out later in the name of which engagement? That she just turned and left. Apparently she did not even want to understand like what she thinks is that you should not stay out late. No matter what you people went to do or in the name of engagement. I was thinking while I was seeing, she would be excited. So you're getting married and all of that. But she was really angry that we stayed out late in the name of engagement. Madam, but this is what is obtainable now. You have engagement. All of that.
Yes, you won't blame her.
I wouldn't blame her either.
You won't blame her.
I'm not blaming her.
The thing is there. You are looking at the engagement. Possibly, I didn't mean you guys came back early. She would have given you the time. I understand the point where you. But at that point, is the late coming. That's her problem. You understand? So sometimes, you know, the way we present good things to our parent, we present it wrongly. And then at the end of the day, there is conflict. You talked about conflict. You understand? So, and then, you know, our parents of, you know, we love them.
We do love them.
You know, once they set standards, and then, you know that I'm the one who give birth to you.
Yes.
I carry you 9 months. See, if you dare me.
Let your money enter their
hand. Just respect that. So you see, you just have to just tread with them with caution, you know, and then observing all those red lines. You understand? You know, and some of them you can't blame them because of the nature of their exposure. You
and
won't
also
blame
the nature of the environment.
Yeah, that's the exposure generally. You understand? You know, the environment is included, you know, the home training, you know, who they mingle with, you know, outside their own comfort zone. So it all, because if we take ourselves back, you will see that the mode of worship then is different.
Yeah.
Because then you can't clap. Even when singing, you can't dance.
It depends on. Do you think it depends on the denomination, or it's still part of the generational
Even our
differences?
our own equa.
Because I remember an old man.
Do you understand? So you ask yourself, then they don't. So now you link it to the people that even bring the gospel. Then who are the people? You know, because it's what they brought and they accept, and then gradually, you know, the knowledge is increasing. And then things are taking a different dimension. You understand? Like what you said during the e-camps, when some youth were asking the former GS, like, why didn't Equa worship like this? And then he was asking them, you know, do you want us to be a photocopy or you want us to be original? You know, if you copy, that means you are second version. You understand? So this is who we are, and we love what we are doing. He said, during our time, some of us, we can't clap, you can't dance. But look at you now, you are dancing before me. You are even carrying the chair that I'm supposed to sit down. You are carrying simply because you are happy that I'm among you, worshiping with you, attending this because they were so excited seeing that, you know, our leaders at that top. You know, and you say GS, the General Secretary of Equa International, like he's here with us. The young people, you understand? They were so excited. He said, look at it. He said, then you can't, because from here is Horo Street. You clap, you shake your body in a way that They will put you in church discipline straight. But look at it today. We sing, we dance, we roll on the floor. It depends on how you want to express yourself to God. Some do it genuinely. Some, they have their own reasons. But even though any action comes with intention, right? So, and we have to understand that, like I think Joyce or Prudence said, you know, generational shift will always be there. You can't take it away. But it's left for you to be intentional to close the gap from your family. And most people don't understand that. That is why you find out there are some families that you will see that value that is still there intact till 4th, 5th generation is there. Because from the beginning they are informed and they maintain it. Even when, like you said, the world is evolving with all that is happening now, you know, the technology, advancement, whatever that we can see today, and then we are wow. They are not missing that. Because
Still value.
there's still value. They maintain it because they will tell you that, yes, the world may change in its own pattern of living, but that value remains the same. You can't change it. So you just have to be intentional. And all of these things that we're talking about is about the knowledge that you talked about, and then us being intentional about ourselves, about our family, and how we want to instill that value in our children. That is why some of us, yes, with even the technology today, there are some things you are doing, you still see your parent, man, you got to slow down because you know you are just off track small. Yeah, you will know.
But
you know.
But are you really concerned about the level of let's say lack of? I like the fact that you touch on values, which speaks on morality as well, because generational difference. In looking at generational difference, also we've seen how that values are being thrown in the name of advancement, in the name of freedom, in the name of information, and like, it's my life, I'm responsible. Things that people used to do in the hidden, people now bring it like to the open, and they tell you that, see, we are no longer in the so century, like this is the 21st century. People use that as excuse to live some kind of life, because they feel that now they are responsible for their life, or they feel they are in a generation that permits you to take decisions for yourself, for your life, and then to just, like, you owe nobody any explanation. So, and I think this is of major concern, especially to the generation that our parents belong to, because we see people throwing these values even in places of worship. I mean, you see people dress in certain way, and they will use scripture and excuse it and tell you that the Bible does not. It's about your heart and not about your physical appearance. But is it not from the abundance of the heart that your mouth speak, and is now evidence in how you live your life? So it's really worrisome, and I like, that's why I said I like the fact that he pointed to values, regardless. I think regardless of advancement in technology, we should not throw away our values. And that is why we keep talking about purpose on this set. We talked about belief. What do you stand for? What are you, who are you representing? Do you even know the reason why you are existing? I will always say, if you are able to answer this key question, then distraction will be far away from you. You cannot be tossed by the wind. If you know first, why am I existing? What is the purpose? Why is it that I slept, I did not die, I still wake up? I will always say that you sleep, you wake up, God has not given up on you. You don't have the right to give up on yourself. And don't also allow anybody to give up on you. The fact that I'm here today does not mean that is where I will remain. I mean, God is not done with you. And so, why would you be, in the name of generational differences, disregard values, disregard morals? You leave your house, dress in certain way. You get to school, you change your box. what you have as wares in the school is different from what your
you wear at
parents
home.
shopped for you, because you feel, my mother does not understand that this is not obtainable. We see a lot of young people do that. When their parents go to buy, they buy things for them. When they get to school, they have different box of clothes that they wear in school. When it's holiday time, they go back with the other box. And when their friends or their classmates see them at home, and they're like, is this not Cynthia?
You see something,
And they are just amazed. So I just feel like Sambo Solomon said, regardless of the advancement in technology,
there are some things that should
regardless,
not be
even though we know that these generational differences will always be there, but our values, our morals should not be thrown away in the name of generational difference, in the name of freedom, in the name of, oh, now I have access to the information, I'm now well informed, so I will live my life. Sometimes, let's talk about wedding, for example. How that people dress to wedding before. When you see wedding dresses and you see bridesmaids and what they wear before, like, people are so ashamed of their private part showing. I mean, your breast, your what, and but now the styles that are being sewn is to put out those body parts outside. Imagine a bridesmaid.
Sorry,
You
Joyce.
if you see a bridesmaid with a top like my own, it's like, are you normal?
it's
The
Efren-
whole cleavage must be outside. Like
Efren
the breast,
said-
you'll be looking at it, let this thing not fall out.
and you're
Honestly.
pitying the person on her on her behalf. You
A
see
friend
something.
said, sorry. A friend said that in this generation, the only thing that is private, that is only the lungs, the liver, and the kidney, because they are
Because
inside,
they are
you
always
can't-
inside.
they
Oh
are
my
covered.
God.
Honestly,
If there was a way
honestly,
to bring
just-
them out,
they
people
will
will
bring
bring
it
them
out.
out.
it's disturbing, and just like we talked about value and morals, it is disturbing how we live in the delusion that you own your life and so you owe nobody an explanation. That is the greatest lie in our own century. See, the greatest lie in our century is not "I am fine," because we all know that everybody's lying when you say you're fine. You're rarely ever fine. But that's not it. The lie is that I owe nobody an explanation. Every choice you make has a
And through the
repercussion.
story, you don't hear this statement in that generation. Because you owe your not
Yes,
just your
you
parents,
owe
the
everybody.
society that
Yes,
you come from.
yes.
Like, I'm not even
You
talking
owe
about your
total
God,
strangers.
your family.
Family.
You see, they tell you
Your
that don't
extended
go and
family.
disgrace our family, or don't disgrace the family
Every-
name.
Don't
But in
disgrace
this
our
generation,
community.
Don't
disgrace
disgrace
your
our
community
tribe.
because you
Don't
represent
try.
where
Don't
you're
disgrace
coming
our
from.
tribe.
And that's why if somebody makes it in and then you're from a particular ethnic group, you see everybody celebrating
Yes.
it. So as you are leaving for school, you are representing
Yes.
not just your family but the community.
The whole ethnic
But
group.
today, it is the difference is that we are now saying, I owe nobody.
So-
I owe my life.
So we keep living in that. I don't want to use that word again before you guys will attack
Is
me.
it cocoa?
My generation.
So we live
And
like
the lagoons.
oh my goodness. But we live in that kind of world now where a lot of times we are being told lies and we tend to believe the lies rather than the morals that were instilled in us at home. But you see where the error is that when you are teaching your child the morals that you should teach the child, you should teach the child as this is a moral that you should hold, like your lifeline, your lifeline. That is what makes you who you are. But a lot of times you find that they are using threats to tell you that you should not let it go. And so this child goes out in the world and sees other people doing the same thing and there's no threats. They are doing it, and all the threats that you threaten the person, yet he's not saying it. And he's saying, I can try this now. I don't have to explain myself to my parents. They are not even here to see me in the first place.
The people doing it will tell you that your parent lied to you.
Yes.
It's something worth
Yeah.
trying.
So parents
like the
should
devil
tell
now.
you both. They should tell you both sides of it. As you're growing, you say, okay, so you see this. It looks like this child is growing and blossoming. You think that this habit is good, but this could be the repercussion, and this could be what will happen to you. You explain to this child in vivid terms. It's easier that way because when this child understands fully well what exactly is obtainable and how it could also look like it is beneficial for that person that is doing it, it is detrimental to this child.
Mm.
Explain it to him in vivid terms. It slims down the chances of that child derailing.
I have a question.
I said
before
slim
you
down.
continue, I have a question, especially to this generation, these parents. Why is it difficult for parents to talk about sex with their children?
Well,
You will start hearing things like if they touch your pants, if they see your leg, like what are you're talking about them being vivid. You are parents now. Yesterday, this one said that I'm married. Why is it difficult? Why is it difficult for parents to talk about this
about
topic
this,
in clear terms? Because in this generation now,
Mm.
as you're not talking with them, when they sit down, when you see young people, if the kind of it's not just vivid,
the
they
information
paint
they
the
know.
picture.
I'm pretty sure that even the
in the
parents don't know
discussion.
what the children
I
know.
mean, so
I-
why is it difficult for parents to
Y-
engage
yeah.
their children?
Yes, it's difficult. Okay, one of the reason is because of that same generational shift, button shift. You understand? Because this thing that I'm telling you, that I said you have to be deliberate as individual, as parent, to maintain that standard and to continue with that value. You have to be deliberate. And as you go, I like it when you said you have to learn, relearn, and unlearn. If you are learning and you are relearning, that is that there is something that you are being taught differently that is not obtainable now, that needs a little bit of polishing or a different approach. It may not be totally wrong, but it needs a different approach. And one of them is sex. The approach then was different. Right?
I even had that a girl, because her mom told her that don't allow a man see your pants. So when the man wanted to see, she decided to remove the pant and kept it somewhere, and then went to make out with the guy. At least the mom said he should not see her pants. So he actually did not see her pants, but he slept with her, and she got pregnant. And when the mother was saying, "Boy, I told you not to allow a man see your pants," and she
She
said,
said,
"Boy, I
"No, he
removed
didn't
it.
see
He
it."
didn't see the pants."
Well, I think it's not this generational issue. I think this generation are even more outspoken. That's parents now. They are more outspoken about sexual talks with their children than the generation before this one, because of the information that they have at hand, because of mistakes that children have made, or mistakes that they have even made in the previous generation. So in as much as that is still existing in this generation, I would say that parents should be given kudos because they are doing well compared to before. So the thing should be, how can they do better than they are doing now? But I feel parents are really doing well in sex education, because you find that at home, you find that in schools, you find campaigns about sex education. So the information about sexual talks is really more now than before.
Because then
And
it's
then-
like
and
a
then-
taboo.
Yes.
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 And
In fact,
I want-
a parent is not even comfortable
Comfortable.
then to talk about even just
If the
menstrual
child is
cycle.
getting married.
A mother is not even comfortable to talk about
don't
it.
understand.
But now it's really different.
You know, then once the female child begin to see her first blood, menstrual, whatever. To, kada ki yarda namiji ya taba ki, ya taba ki shikenan.
Don't allow a guy, a man to touch you
Touch
once he touch you.
That's all.
You
That's
get
all.
pregnant.
What kind of information is that? You know, I'm just adding up to what you said.
Yes.
But if you look at it, then our parents promiscuous? Yes, some they were. But you see, then before you even engage in the activities, the way the community is watching you, they cut down the risks to the barest minimum. Because for you to be seen with a guy, a lot of questions, like for the entire 1 week, they will be asking you. I hope it didn't go before that mango tree. I hope this, I hope that, I hope that. You understand? And then, like you rightly mentioned earlier, it's just once you see your father and our father talking, already your mom knows that something is cooking. They will start suspecting maybe they are talking about prudence. And at that time, prudence is just 6 or 5. Yes. That means the man will wait till like 15 years. The deal has been done. The parent have discussed, but now it's not obtainable. You are here not meeting a guy, a lady is here just because of phone. She's in Lagos. For the first time, no introduction. The parent don't know anything about. The only person that would know that she's in Lagos, maybe she just feel I'm traveling and somebody she know, and she tells her friend. But she will spend a week or a month with the person as far as Lagos. So you talk about consequences earlier. That's the reason why I'm linking this. If you look at it then, yes, maybe they are just keeping the little girl. She's just 5. You understand? Waiting for her to be 18 from that time, or maybe 20, and then straight to the man's house. Straight. But now there's relationship. Then, yes, we know of some parents that from this house she married this man and leave the man and go to the other, and then
She married like
saying,
10
honestly.
how
5
you know,
men.
because there are
She can be in another man's house. Another man is already and will go with pregnancy of
yes,
this man.
yes, and they don't care. So it was obtainable then. You understand? And sometimes because some of the the children that are victim today, they complain bitterly because they will say, "This is how my mom married. This is how my siblings are." You hear this complaint. These are some mistakes that they did then. You understand? But now, are the consequences different? No. But it's just that the number have increased because now with the advent of social media closing the gap, making it a global world, and the rest, you meet anybody that you feel like you want to connect with any day, anytime, you know,
and it just sets
the right, you know, at your so you see now what is happening. The level of people getting pregnant, people that generation, do they have abortion? Yes, they do, but you can count it with your teeth. Do you understand? But now, look at the rate. Look at the people that today they can't give birth because of the level of promiscuity, you know, the kind of life they live, the kind of abortion they did, and then today this is the consequences they are living. We are not even talking about people that are not even living to testify. Do you understand? So you see the issue of consequences. Now I'm looking at the consequences now. So you see the gap, the number. So this is what generation does. But are they parents that are really controlling? Yes. Because of this, linking it to what you said, that what prompt parents now to be proactive, to because they know this is the danger, and this thing is really alarming because young girls are just dying. And if you look at it now it's not the issue of abortion. Now it's the issue of pills. Young girls, age of 18, 15 now, they are doing family planning simply because they don't want to go to that level. So you can see what now exposure, what education, what knowledge now, because knowledge is everywhere. Like you said, the advent of technology now, the internet, people can just go and browse. Yes, I am this and that. What can I take and do this? And then parents know that it's better they say it. If they don't, these children will just browse. These young people will just browse.
Or they will tell you, I know you know.
Or they will tell you, I know you know. But it is very important for parents, Prudence, for us to be intentional, to be friends with our children. By doing that, Prudence said something like that earlier. By doing that, it will help us to close the gap, and that's why I'm linking it that you have to be intentional, because when you are talking about the generation, it starts with your family. It starts with you. If you are not married, it starts with you, because before you get married, you are thinking of how you want your family to be. What things do you want to correct that you are coming from your family? What do you want to correct? What do you want to improve? Because that morals, the better version of that morals where you're coming from will be seen in the grandchildren. Yes, because you polish it because of your generation is different from your parent. Now they want to see you better in their grandchildren. So that is why we have to be deliberate. And then you look at it now, because of the information now at our disposal, parents are being intentional. Not all, but some. And I'm happy because the number is increasing. People are really going deep into informing their children, making them their friends. That's why now they will tell you, if uncle in school taught you anyhow, just come home and tell me. You know, you hear mothers telling their toddlers, telling them, because of the level of evil that is going on now. Because some people, it's like they don't even have brain in their head.
Like, there are other certain generational differences that it seems people are not seeing their fault in that. Still talking about parents, you hear certain parents tell you that when I was growing up, things were so difficult for my parents, so they were not able to give me the basic needs of a child. Now that I am a parent, I want my child to have everything that I did not have when I was growing up. That is why you see where a child has so much food that he cannot even finish eating in a day. He's taking it to school, a school that is just a trackable distance. They're taking him in a car, and so many other things. Yes, I understand that parents are trying to give their children what they were not able to get, but in doing that, you get to overdo, and at the end of the day, you spoil the child. He grows up without being able to do anything for himself. He's only to sit here. When he's done eating, you help him with the plate. He doesn't know how to wash the dishes. He doesn't know how to sweep the house. He doesn't know how to put clothes for himself. He doesn't know how to do a lot of things that ordinarily he should be able to do. So in trying to protect the child, you are overprotecting him, and we don't know what tomorrow might hold, but if anything should happen and you are no longer there for the child, he would find it very difficult to be able to live his life. And one other thing I see as well is the older generations had this little respect. If you're standing and an elderly person is there, ideally you're supposed to vacate that place for that elderly person to sit down. You no longer see those things. Something as little as when an elderly person is coming, you greet the person. If he or she is holding something, you quickly assist that person to hold that thing for him. You don't see this kind of things again. These are generational things that
they will tell you, am I the one that asked him to come
even
late
the
for
elderly amidst us still find it they don't find it comfortable because they are hoping that, okay, you're supposed to know that I'm an elderly person, but you find people arguing, why should I leave the place for you? I also struggled to get this chair that I am sitting on, so why should I leave it for you? Or they will tell you,
why did you come late?
Exactly.
The one that will not support is that let an elderly person not stop tricycle, keke na pep. You already know that the back is filled, and you now stop it, and you know the only space is front and you stop and you're looking at somebody to drop. Ideally, that front, somebody's not supposed to sit there. It's just for the driver. So don't stop a tricycle or a keke na pep, and you see that the back is filled up, and you're expecting a younger person to drop, so that you can to drop and sit at the front, which is not right, so that you will sit. When you see a tricycle or a keke na pep that is filled behind, don't stop it, stop another one. Instead of, because you know how the younger people will just like, okay, because you are seeing an older person, then you drop, and then okay, no, mama come to the back, or baba come to the back, and then you make it a norm. When you stop, you are expecting that, because this, why I'm saying this is wrong. Is the front should just be for the driver. You don't need to risk another person's life in the name of, okay, I'm older. Or if you're supposed to be in an event, try and make it on time, so that a younger person, we're talking about respect as well. Respect is reciprocal, and then you earn respect. You're supposed to be in the church, for example, 7, and you're coming by 9, and then expecting the child that came around 7 to get up and go and stay outside while you sit is not right. Exactly. So even in looking at generational differences, in looking at what is obtainable, the morals have dropped even among the older people. Like older people that you're supposed to see them helping the younger ones, teaching them values and impacting their lives, they are the one aiding them in doing things that are bad. We've heard of older people that teaching younger ones how to smoke, how to engage in certain lifestyle. He talked about abuse. Today you send your child to school, a child of 5 years and an uncle of 40 years abusing the child, and you still expect respect from that child. You see, you don't get that. So some of the attitudes that we put out there also impact on the generation, and that is why you see that respect is no longer obtainable. Gone are the days that younger people will see older people and they will greet with all respect, or they will say, when I grow up I want to be like that uncle, I want to be like that auntie. But what's the lifestyle that the auntie and the uncle are living? Is it something that the younger one will actually say, I want to be like this? Or that is the motivation of the child to really be a good person, because he's that uncle, God forbid that, like, I'll end up like that because this one is just a drunk, or this auntie has already gone into prostitution. She's not even a model for me. So what are we also modeling to this generation if we're even complaining of the differences? Some of the parents that keep complaining, during our time, what are you representing in the life of the child? Some parents are just absentee parents. You're not there to impact on the child, yet you have an expectation from the child. So like the Bible talked about sowing and reaping. If you don't sow, maybe no wonder what we have today is what the other generation have actually sowed. So as we are complaining of the vices, what have we done to change the narrative as well? And that's why I talked about learning, unlearning, and relearning. What was obtainable then is not what is obtainable now. Things are evolving. So how have you on your own part evolved to meet, not drop your values or your morals, but how have you, since we're in an era of technology, how can I also learn this tech, how to use this tech so that I can help my child? Because these people now, they go to school, there are computers in their classroom, when before now, you hardly see that. You go and sit down, chalkboard and all of that. Everything you're being taught is theory, there's no practical. But these children now, they have access to web, they can the search engines, they go to school, they do a lot of things, and you, their parent, you don't know how to even send text message, and you're complaining that the children are spending time on their gadgets. So it's important that you also create time to learn, to relearn. Don't hold on to the knowledge that you acquired 20 years ago, and then you are complaining of the child, what the child is engaged for. You to know what they are doing and to also help them and to teach them to do it right. It's important that you also learn what is actually obtainable. Don't keep saying that my parents used to, and this is. If the world is changing, what they are being taught in school is advanced, you have to also advance as
so
well.
would you then say that the generational differences have caused havoc or have brought about advancement? And I am talking looking based on the positive side, both the advantages and the disadvantage that generational difference has brought. So would you say that it has brought more of havoc, or it has brought about advancement?
It's a two-way thing. It depends on what you try to make out of it. There's positivity, there's negativity. So what are you making out of it? Like I said, the world is advancing. It will not wait for you. It's evolving. So it's left for you to make, like, if you want to make impact out of it, you will make. If you want to go negative, it will aid you in being really negative, like negative to the core. So what do you actually want to make out of it? They are parents, like I say, because they understand the times that we are in. They will not sit down and just say, they are holding on to the past knowledge, but they want to learn what their children are doing. So that I had a father talked about how his relationship with his child, I was really wowed and amazed. When he talked with his son, you'll be thinking he's talking with his friend. Guy, what's up? Where are you? This man is not in this generation, no. But these are the languages, like how far, guy, how far were you there? And when his child went for service, he was talking about how that he called his son and he was like that. His child called him and was like, Daddy, see where they post me to, like that. That after some months he say, you never see any babe for that side, because whether he asked him or not, he already knew that as a young man there are tendencies of meeting young ladies or making friends and relationship and all of that. And you say, how far? You don't see any girl for that side. And you say, Daddy, forget that talk. He say, guy, relax, talk to me like the way I'm telling you. And then he told the father that actually at his PPA there's this girl, the girl fine. He's telling his father, and the father say, hope say she no black like you. How he was teasing the boy. Say, Dad, this one a fine baby. So tell me about her. And he told his father. When he told the father, then the father now told him that, but you see, you need to be careful. He heard him and said, "Oh,
Mm.
that nice one. But see, you need to look out for this. You need to look out for that. Remember, this is the stage where you are." And then that was how he talked with the child. So you see, even in the advancement as a parent, you also need to learn. When your child talk to you, or when the younger generation are talking and they are giving you reason, try to reason with them. And when you reason, you can help in advising. You can help them one way or the other. So don't just hold to past knowledge. And that's why we say lifelong learning is about learning, unlearning, and relearning.
Okay, so I wanted to say this since I finally get the opportunity.
Yeah,
Alright,
I needed to make the point as well.
I know that we drummed a lot about parents, right? But it's also important for us, the younger generation, and I'm talking about my generation because we can be stone-eared. We don't even want to reason with people because I mentioned earlier that we have this, we live in this world that we think that everything we're doing is for us and it doesn't really reflect on our neighbor. And because of that, we are not attentive to what our parents are expecting of us. And it's not everybody that does that. Some of us do pay attention, but the thing is that a lot of us don't even pay attention to little things that could irritate our parents to the point that they are being unreasonable, quote and unquote. So how you approach your parents really matters as a child. As a young person in this generation, and you know that there's a generational difference between you and your father, and you want to bridge that gap, how you approach your parent is very important. You have to be considerate about that person's emotions too, because he has emotions, he has feelings. You can't go about being stubborn and stone-eared and expect that your parents will reason with you. They would not. In fact, they would also blow up because you're blowing up. They would blow up. I got to a point one time that I made a call to my dad and I was trying to explain to him something about how I feel about a certain circumstance. But the way I approached him, I was like already angry. And he got angry and off to the call on me. So I called him back and he did not pick. See? That was something that we would have settled it on a very amicable term and it would have not escalated. But because of the approach that I approached it with, it became something else entirely. It was later on that I thought about it and I came back. He said, "I'm sorry for the way I said it, but this and this and this." And he said, "Okay, I understand with you." And I got the solution to what I was looking for. So it is very important that you pay attention. As much as we talked about how parents need to pay attention to their children, the children also need to pay attention to their parents to be able to bridge that gap. We talk about dressing, we talk about hairstyles and all that. There are some parents that just get irritated by certain hairstyles. If you have to do it, explain why you have to do it. If you don't have to do it, please let it, for the betterment of your family, let it go. You don't have to do certain things if it will cause harm for you in your family. So the issue of generational differences, it's large, it's huge, it's something that every generation would have to struggle with, but you have to instill in yourself that you need to understand the times. The scripture says that the sons of Issachar understood the times, and that's why they were able to approach things correctly. The scripture also emphasizes study to make yourself approved, study so that you can answer people. Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young. All these things were geared towards you understanding the environment that you found yourself in. So we need to pay close attention to the generation we are in, the generation our children will be in. Pay attention, be attentive. It's very key, and that's one way to actually bridge that gap.
Thank you so much, Prudence. Joyce, thank you. Solomon, Sambo, thank
Okay, let
you.
me say this. Generational gap will always be there. But the only thing that is constant that will always close that gap is Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Thank you. So this is the much that we can take today on generational difference. I hope you are able to take something back home. Thank you so much for doing this with us. Until we come your way tomorrow, do have a blessed day. Thank you.